is sunny as fuck today. Not complaining. I mean, you know, we've had some pretty warm ass weather. It's gonna take me forever to get out of here. We've had some pretty warm fucking weather. I wanted to go left. And anyway, so the election happened. We all know what happened there. So I don't know. What's weird to me though is like colleges are closing classes and people are freaking out. Like, I don't, maybe I just don't understand it. Like, I don't never remember an election where they closed classes because people were so hurt and so upset and so this and so that. People are like, I have no rights today because of the election. It's like, what? Like, what? Nothing's different today than what was different on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's changed. Like, the president's gonna change, and maybe we'll actually have a president that, you know, can talk, do his job, and not let everybody else around him run him and tell him what to do. But that's not the reason I'm making this video. I'm not, like, there's plenty of videos out there of people telling you where shit went wrong for the Democrats. I mean, you can watch them. So, that's not why I'm here today. I will say one thing while we're on the subject. I did watch this video where this guy was, well, it was like 4 guys. I think it's the Carter family's 4, I think 3 or 4 young black kids. Anyway, I've never seen their videos before, but I happened to watch one of them yesterday, I think. And the one guy, he made perfect sense. You know, he's like, for the last year especially, ramping up to the election, like, the Democrats have been like, if you don't vote for us, you're racist. If you don't vote for us, you're misogynistic. You're this, you're that. He's like, you've been called all these things and told you're not good enough unless you think exactly like them. So, of course, people ran the other way. When you've been beat down and put down by a party saying you have to vote for us or else this. Yeah. And the way he said it is way better than the way I just said it. Like, it was perfect. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. So we'll move on from that nonsense. So last night, right? What would you do? You know what I mean? That's really what this comes down to. Is I want to know what other people would have done, because I believe I did the right thing. It's the way I was raised, right? It's just the way I was raised. So anyway, my old lady works at a gas station, and she does not like driving at night, and she closes at midnight. It's not in the best neighborhood, right? Like, it's not horrible over there, but it's not the best neighborhood. Anyway, and it's right by the hospital, so you get like people that get kicked out of the hospital because they're only staying there because they want a place to stay. And after a while, the hospital's like, you gotta go. And they're a little loopy kind of people. And they show up there and then they don't leave. And you gotta be like, look, man, you can't just hang out here at a gas station either. But anyway, when she closes at midnight, if I can, right, depending on my work schedule, I go up there the last 15, 20 minutes she's working. I help her close, and then I follow her home, because she does not like driving home at night. She says she can't see that well, but I can't take her to work every day, so it just works out, right? So I just follow her home. She feels safer that way. The owner of the gas station likes it that I'm there when she closes, because he feels better. She's not locking up and walking out at 12:15 at night all by herself, you know. So it works out. Anyway, last night, right as I'm turning the lights off, this little SUV pulls in, and we didn't lock the door yet, which, you know, we don't always, because I'm taking out garbage. For this little old lady comes in, 72 years old, and she says she needs directions to get back to Elyria, and we're in Lorain, and Lorain and Elyria are right next to each other. I was like, okay. She's like, if I can get to Elyria, I'll know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm at here. And then she says she needs gas, right? And I'm like, oh, are you paying with a card? She's like, I can pay however you want. My old lady says, you know what, it's okay. I've already done everything, counted out my drawer. It'll go for tomorrow's sales. I can, if she wants to pay cash, you know. Well, then I take the garbage out, I come back in, they're still trying to figure out the gas. I was like, what's going on? The old lady said, I just want 10 gallons. And she's like, well, I don't know how that works. And I'm like, what? She's like, I can't put in just 10 gallons. Like, do you want $10, $20? And it was like the lady was confused. And I was like, well, 10 gallons, gas is $2.70, would be $27-ish. So $30 will get you just above 10 gallons. And she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to get that much. And I was like, well, just give her $20. Just put 20 in it, you know? She's like, oh, okay. Then her phone starts ringing, and she's like trying to figure out how to answer her phone. This tiny little old lady. She answers her phone, and she's on the phone. She's like talking. And we're just standing there waiting. Like, she's on the phone for 3-4 minutes before she finally gets into her wallet and pays the money. And then she's walking out of the gas station real slow. And then I'm outside with her, and I'm like, your car is back kind of far from the pump. You're going to want to pull up a little bit so you can put the gas in. And it was like, what I was saying wasn't registered, right? And then she's like, can you, so I'm trying to tell her, like, it's a pretty straight shot. I'm trying to tell her where to go. And as I'm giving her the directions, she's like, could you just tell somebody that can tell me? And I'm like, what? And she's on the phone. And she's like, I think they're going to come up here so I can follow them. And I was like, okay. So I take the phone, right? And I think it's her son. And he's like, listen, she shouldn't be out right now. She's very confused. And I was like, yeah, I could tell. And he's like, she doesn't know where she's at. He's like, where is she? And I was like, well, she's at Sunoco on West River or West Erie Ave. I was like, right across from the skate land in Lorain on Rock. And he's like, I know exactly where that is. I was like, okay, all right. He's like, please don't let her leave. He's like, are you guys closing? I'm like, yeah, we're closed. We closed 10 minutes ago at this point, right? And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, don't worry about it. She paid for some gas. She's still got to pump her gas. I'll keep her here, or I'll tell her to stay here. He's like, we're coming. I'm like, okay. So me and my wife are coming. I said, all right. It was pretty cold, too, you know? So I give her the phone back, and she's on the phone, and she's saying, like, well, I'll go here. And I could tell, like, whoever, her son's telling her, like, no, don't do that. Just stay where you're at. And she's like, well, they're closed. I'll drive down the street to somewhere else. And he's like, no. I know exactly where you're at right now. Just stay there. Well, then she couldn't understand this whole time. I'm telling her, like, ma'am, you got to move your car forward. Ma'am, you got to move your car forward. She wouldn't move it forward. So then I pumped her gas. Like, and luckily the thing reached because, like, I wasn't going to get in her car and move it for her. Like, she probably would have let me if I was like, just give me your keys. So the hose reached far enough to where I could pump the gas for her. So I pump her gas. And then I'm like, just stay here, right? Then my old lady, she's like, it's time to go, let's go. I was like, no, we can't leave. She's like, what? I was like, we can't leave. I'm like, you can't leave this confused old lady here by herself. Like, this isn't the nicest area, for one. For two, it's 12:20 at night. Like, we're going to wait. She was not happy. She wasn't. She understood, but she wasn't happy. She's like, just tell her to roll up her window, lock her doors. Like, yeah, that works. But she's so confused. Anybody can walk up to her window, knock on her window, and she's going to roll the window down and start talking to him. So I was like, just go sit in your car, right? Because she already locked up, set the alarm. Now it's like 20, 25 after. We sat there until about 12:35 before these people showed up, 12:40. She, like, an extra half an hour out of our day was spent sitting there at nighttime. And she was mad. She just wanted to leave. I was like, leave then. Like, go. You leave. Like, you go. I'll wait. Well, she's not really your problem. It doesn't matter that she's not my problem. Like, and the lady pulled her car up and was, like, sitting, like she was about to pull out of the gas station with her car running for a while. Like, I got out of my car because I was sitting in it to stay warm and went up and was standing outside her window because I was afraid she was going to take off. So I'm standing outside making sure she don't leave. And then at one point I was like, well, can you call whoever you talk to and find out how much longer they're going to be? Like, I just want to know. Like, she's going through her phone, not her recent calls. She's going through her contacts. And then she picks up a name, some woman named Barb. And I was like, I didn't talk to a woman, ma'am. Like, I didn't talk to nobody named Barb. And she's like, the time change has me thrown off. I'm like, the time change? She's like, I had a doctor's appointment on Oak Point, which is like a half a mile down the road on a different road, right? I'm like, okay, like this late? And she's like, no, I think it was yesterday. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, I don't know, the time change has me so screwed up. I'm 72 years old. I don't drive around at night. I shouldn't be driving around at night. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And I was like, when they come, is somebody driving your car? Or, like, what's the plan? And she's like, I think so, because he said, they're coming. I was like, yeah, that's what he told me. We're coming. I was like, hopefully they're not going to let you drive and somebody's going to ride with you. I think, his, like, whoever he's with. And she's like, well, Barb's his wife. I said, well, okay, let's call her. So she hits the contact, and she scrolls through, and she hits her address. Puts the phone to her ear. I was like, you're not calling anybody, ma'am. She was like, what? And she looked at it, seen the map on her phone, put it right back to her ear. I'm like, ma'am, you're not calling anybody. And I'm standing outside her window. And so she brings her phone down, and she starts just scrolling aimlessly through, like, the contact information of this lady. And I was like, there's the phone number. And I actually reached in and hit the button and hit the call button. And I was like, okay, now it's ringing. And then she put the phone to her ear. And it went to voicemail. She's like, I think her phone's off. I said, well, let's call the guy that I talked to on the phone. Let's talk to him. And she was like, okay. Like, it took her 5 minutes to, like, just figure out where his phone number was. And at that point, I was like, we're just waiting. We're waiting. It doesn't matter how far away he is, however long it takes. We're going to be here. And about 2 minutes later, he pulls in with his wife. And I was like, here she is. Like, he was like, and he was really grateful. He's like, thank you for sitting with her. I really appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. He's like, her doctor's appointment's tomorrow. I was like, well, she said it was yesterday. He's like, no, it's tomorrow afternoon. I don't know how she left, why she was allowed to leave. Like, she, like, snuck out of the house or wherever she's living and just doop. I was like, oh boy. Like, and yeah, it took a half an hour out of our day. Yeah, I sat outside in the cold. But I wasn't going to leave this lady sit there. No matter how mad my old lady was getting. Because I get it. She worked from 2 to midnight. She closed. She just wanted to go home. Like, I get it. I worked too. Not as many hours as her. Right? But, I went straight from work and drove an hour and a half to her gas station and sat there the last 20 minutes of her night and then sat there with this lady. Like, but there's no way I was going to leave this confused old lady sit there in the parking lot by herself. Like, that just wasn't going to happen. And I kept saying that. Like, what if that's your grandma? What if that, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I look. Like, what if that was my grandma out there all confused? I would want somebody to do that for her, right? Like, if they called me and I was like, look, grandma, I'm on my way, don't go nowhere. Like, I'm hoping somebody's sitting there waiting with her in this dark gas station with no lights on in the middle of the night and not such a good area. Even if it was a good area, even if it was a upstanding area where crime never happens, I would hope somebody would still do that. Because what if she does just decide, oh, I'm going to go over there. And now you can't find her, and the lady clearly can't figure out how to use her phone. Like, I just wasn't going to let that happen. I don't know, that's all I'm saying. I don't know, am I wrong? Should we have just left her? She was like, well, she could just roll up her windows, lock the door, and just tell her not to open the door for anybody she don't know. Like, yeah, you could tell her that, but is she going to understand that? Is she going to get that? Like, 10 minutes after we leave, is she going to remember everything I just told her? Like, and I don't know exactly where they're coming from. I know these people are coming from Elyria, so I knew it couldn't take more than a half an hour for them to get there. That much I knew. Because anywhere in Elyria, you can get there in about 30 minutes, especially in the middle of the night with no traffic. Especially when you're worried and you're in a hurry and you're trying to get there to help. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that it wasn't going to be an hour, so we were waiting. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe I didn't do the right thing. I feel like I did the right thing. And I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised to leave somebody like that in that way, in that shape. That's just not me. I wasn't raised that way. That's just not who I am as a person. So I don't know, you tell me, right? You tell me. But anyway, I'm out of here. This video is fucking 20 minutes long. I'm sorry. But you guys have a good one. You know, take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors. You know what I mean? Especially right now, out fighting. And there's a lot of sad people out there that for some reason think they're gonna get their uteruses cut out and people are gonna be slaves tomorrow. Like, I don't fucking get it, man. I don't. Not much is gonna change. Shit's gonna change, but not much is gonna change. Maybe you can get rid of all this craziness or... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not talking about that nonsense. Anyway, you guys be good. I'll be back.